The real story tonight is Wisconsin, where Barack Obama has won by at least a 15% margin. And the margin really is what's gotten your attention, Jeffrey.
15% is a landslide. That is close to how he won in Maryland and Virginia. Another point that I think is perilous for Hillary Clinton is that consistently over the past several weeks, Obama is outperforming public opinion polls. He was ahead in Wisconsin in most polls, 6, 7, 8%. He's winning by 15. If that trend continues, the close race that we now see in Texas could turn in his favor.
She's lost by double digits tonight, whatever it turns out to be. She's going to Texas and Ohio, where she has to win by double digits in order to keep her delegate count up. And she faces the prospect of these super delegates deserting her on March 5th, saying, well, you know, we got to go with our voters. So there could not be more pressure on that campaign right now, Anderson.
And the question is, what do they do with that pressure? You learn a lot about a candidate when they are on their last or second last breath. And she has said it, her campaign has said it has to win Ohio and Texas. Do they decide to be even sharper and negative in the contrast heading there, or do they decide to try to reset the clock and make it less about him and more about her to try to retell her story? You can be sure they're working on this right now, Anderson. 2 weeks to those elections might seem like a long time. Usually with time, he does better. They know that.
I want to go over to the other road, Jamal Simmons, a Democratic strategist and Barack Obama supporter. Where does Barack Obama go from here in terms of his rhetoric? And we heard attacks from John McCain directly to Barack Obama. We heard attacks from Hillary Clinton tonight directly to Barack Obama. Does he try to rise above that, look presidential at this point?
Well, you know, I think what he was doing tonight was he was broadening out from, excuse me, just the hope message to also talking about what are the actual policies that it is he wants to communicate, that he wants people to know about him. It's clear, we all talked about this up here tonight, he's talking to people in Texas. He knew he was on television. He was communicating very clearly. And it's interesting, when you look at the juxtaposition of Barack Obama standing there talking with that crowd full of people screaming and yelling, and then John McCain's speech, where he's sort of standing in front of a bunch of people, they clap, it sounds like 30 people standing in a room clapping for his remarks. This is sort of like, you know, when you look at John McCain, he's a hero, but he's sort of a symbol of a lot of America's struggle from the past. Barack Obama is a symbol of the possibility of the future.
Leslie Sanchez, Republican strategist.
A lot of those people were talking on the phone, they were playing with their kids, they were clapping at the wrong times. I mean, let's not overmake what Texas and that speech was. I think they both gave compelling speeches, but I think there's one, probably the biggest underreported story, is she has 9 significant losses. If it were reverse and Barack Obama had those losses, we'd be saying he'd be a relevant candidate. I mean, that's the biggest story. She had all the toys in the sandbox, the money, the consultants, you know, and every type of Democratic establishment, you know, and the mystique of it behind her, and she still fails to win.
Paul Begala, you're a supporter of Hillary Clinton. Yeah. What is she doing wrong? I mean, what is not
she's
clicking?
Losing. No, I'm sorry. I say that because apparently it's an underreported story that she's lost 9 times. I paid my cable bill. I've seen that. Okay? I mean, come on.
I got to quickly go to Will for the projection from Washington. Is that she's losing?
She's losing. This is what they pay me all this money for. Right. Well, you tell you what's really interesting here. It looks like, if the numbers hold up, and they will, I think, and certainly from the exit polling, it looks like Barack Obama will beat Hillary Clinton by a larger margin than John McCain beats Mike Huckabee. Now, Huckabee's got his gifts, but he does not have the sort of formidable campaign structure or finances that Hillary Clinton has. So if Barack wins by more than McCain, it's enormously important, certainly for Barack, but it's really troubling, I think, for Senator McCain and for his campaign. I think it's why tonight, Jamal pointed out, he had such a low energy victory, and he looked like Bob Dole after a long night of filibustering. You know, he just out of gas.
But Paul, if you look at the other side of that coin, that means Hillary is less formidable than Mike Huckabee. And I would actually look at some of that exit polling data that I find very interesting. When you asked Democrats if they would be satisfied if Hillary Clinton were the nominee, only, let's see, 68% said yes. And you know, the satisfaction for Barack Obama is much higher at 82. If you look at the Republican side, if you ask, would you be satisfied if John McCain were the nominee? 76% yes. So when we talk about who's having trouble with their base, who's having trouble with their party, actually Hillary Clinton among the 3 is having the most.
But for most Republicans, I mean, John McCain is going to be the nominee, so they got to get satisfied.
No, but they're being asked they're satisfied if that person were to become the nominee.
I thought McCain made the best possible speech he could have tonight, and people paid attention to it, and it's going to require the Democrats to put together a national security policy that really answers him. But picking up on what Paul says, you know, we have all these exit polls, which are terrific, but voting is mystical. It's a mystical act, and deep down, people are voting, and they, we don't know exactly what motivates them, but a lot of it has to do with their perceptions of character, and they have a feeling. And the feeling that we're picking up, and we've seen it all through this, is that Hillary Clinton is being rejected. The Clintons and the restoration of the Clintons to the White House is being rejected, and there is an alternative who is being embraced. Those are the two factors that have coalesced tonight. And that is why this bridge to Texas, that is being built. Ohio, she's got a better shot in, but Texas is going to be terribly difficult for her. She's got investigative reporters all over the place looking at her tax returns, looking at why Bill Clinton won't release her correspondence with him in the White House. It's in the library. It's not going to be pretty in Texas.